Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at freedom, but maybe not in the way you usually think about it. What if freedom and choice weren't just, abstract ideas, but the actual things building your reality, like moment by moment? Our source today is a bit different. It's a lyric sheet, actually. Freedom and Our Choices by Alison McLean. We're setting the music aside and treating these words almost like a philosophical text. It makes some pretty radical claims about agency, responsibility, how we basically create our own experience.
Exactly. And it's important for you listening to grasp that we're looking at the core ideas here. This text isn't saying power is something you can achieve. It's saying it's already yours, innate. And it's not suggesting reality might react to you. No, it insists reality always responds perfectly, like a mirror in real time.
Okay, perfect mirror. That's
Yeah.
intense. Let's dive right into that core idea, the mechanism. The chorus seems to lay it out pretty clearly. It connects choice directly to results. It says, freedom and our choices in a way we choose to play brings the sun and the storms every day.
Right. And notice the pairing there. Freedom isn't selective. It doesn't just bring the good stuff. It's presented as a total creative force. Choosing to play that action generates both things, the sun, the good outcomes.
And the storms, the difficult stuff, the undesirable consequences.
Precisely. So straight away, this puts personal agency right at the center as the source of all daily experiences, not just the ones we like.
That really flips the script, doesn't it? Because usually we look for something external to blame for the storms. But if I brought the sun through my choices, then I also brought the storm. How easy is it to accept that, practically speaking?
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? That's the philosophical weight of it. The text implies you don't get to pick and choose your agency. You can't really own your successes, but then say, oh, the challenge is that was just bad luck or someone else's fault. The system, as described here, is total. Your choices, how you play, make you the source of everything. Beautiful, chaotic, all of it.
Okay, so if this mechanism is always on, always creating everything, where does this power, this choice, actually come from? The text has this really stark line in the first verse about our fundamental nature. It says, there is nothing to learn or unlearn in our presence today.
And that's a huge reframing, especially in a world obsessed with self-improvement, with learning more, fixing ourselves. If there's nothing fundamentally wrong, nothing to unlearn, well, what's the point of all that striving? Why seek knowledge?
It sort of implies that learning isn't about fixing a defect, maybe, more about engaging with what's already there, which is everything. But if we're already complete just by being present, why do we feel this constant need to learn lessons, often the hard way?
The text seems to reposition knowledge seeking. It's not about becoming worthy. It's more like entertainment, a way to use the choice you already have. Life, from this perspective, is therefore to be entertained with a choice in play.
Right.
So the focus shifts. It's not about getting better. It's about engaging, playing with the tools you inherently possess.
And using those tools reveals a power. But the text calls it frightening. It says, our power, forever frightening, in the land we here create. Why frightening? That sounds like a warning label.
I think it's frightening because of the sheer totality of it. The implications are huge. It's inescapable. Think about what it really means to be completely responsible for everything you experience.
Well, it's a lot.
The text explains this power is innate, right?
Yeah.
And the land, our reality, is forever responding to us. The fear comes from that perfect, unavoidable reflection.
So if the mirror is always perfect, there's no one to hide. You have to face the fact that whatever drama, whatever struggle you're in is a tailor-made reflection of your own choices, even the unconscious ones.
Exactly that. The fear is the dawning realization that you can't genuinely blame anything external. Not really. Not if you accept this view. There's no external villain pulling the strings. The power is frightening because it means constant, total accountability for the reality you perceive. It's the burden of, well, cosmic self-rule, you could say.
That idea of accountability, whether we feel powerful or not, leads us straight to responsibility. Verse 2 tackles this head on. It says, responsibility in our choices exists. And here's the kicker. Aware or unaware, it may seem.
Yes, and that's a really challenging point. It messes with our usual ideas about fairness. If you're responsible, even when you're unaware, then saying, I didn't know, or I didn't mean to, doesn't actually change the outcome. The creative engine doesn't care if you've read the manual. It just responds to your input, conscious or not.
But doesn't that feel almost unfair? How can you be held responsible for a choice you didn't even realize you were making? Isn't that just fate?
It flips fate around, actually. It suggests it's not some external destiny controlling you. It's your own unconscious patterns, your unaware choices that are driving things. The system itself is neutral, just a feedback loop. A perfect one, according to this text. And the lyric suggests these choices, aware or unaware, still result in this brilliant experience. Even, it says, when it's dramatic.
Okay, wait. Brilliant experience, even when it's dramatic. So the drama itself is what? Just really accurate feedback.
That seems to be the implication, yes. The brilliance isn't necessarily in the feeling of the experience, but in the accuracy of the reflection. When you hit conflict or struggle, the text says that experience is brilliant because it's showing you exactly what input, what choice created it. It's perfect data.
So if someone feels stuck in drama, just getting this brilliant but painful feedback over and over, what does the text suggest? How do you shift from just enduring it?
Well, the lyrics give a direct instruction. Choose another way. That's the practical bit, using that innate power. And this other way involves a perspective shift. It asks us to be grateful for life experiences, an opportunity to play. So gratitude becomes a tool. It reframes the traumatic feedback. It stops being just suffering and becomes useful information, an opportunity to adjust your play.
Right. It's like seeing the storm not as a punishment, but as the logical result of the atmospheric conditions you helped create, which gives you a chance to maybe change those conditions. It makes life less like a script you're stuck in and more like, well, a very dynamic, high-stakes situation.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the bridge.
Yes, the bridge. It defines existence quite simply. The game of life is playing. That game framing really hammers home the idea that you're always involved. There's no sitting on the sidelines. Even choosing not to choose, being passive, that's still an action. That inertia is still a contribution to the game.
And the lyrics follow that right up by saying our contribution is real, it's tangible, it matters. But then almost immediately it says the experience can feel quite surreal. That seems like a contradiction. Real contribution, surreal feeling.
I think it speaks to our subjective experience versus the underlying mechanics. Our choices, our input, that's the real part. They're concrete causes. But how we feel the world, how we perceive it subjectively, can often seem dreamlike, disconnected, strange, surreal. Yet the text insists that even within that surreal feeling, our actions are the solid input that makes a world a reality.
So even if things feel random or chaotic, this philosophy argues the underlying structure, the reality I'm actually bumping up against, is a direct consequence of the choices being made. My choices, other people's choices.
The big takeaway seems to be that your personal contribution literally sculpts the world you live in.
That's the core of it, yes. The world isn't just happening to you. It's constantly, perfectly happening through you, through your choices.
Wow. Okay. So digging into these lyrics, we've really uncovered a demanding philosophy. This idea of total freedom means it creates both the sun and the storms. It's based on this power we apparently all have, this innate power that reality constantly responds to. And we can't escape it, can't delegate it. It demands responsibility always, aware or not. It really leaves no room for excuses, conceptually speaking. It paints a picture of reality as something we're actively, continuously creating.
So after wrestling with these pretty weighty ideas, what's a final thought for our listeners? Something provocative, drawn purely from this text, that they can maybe test out today.
Well, if the text is right, if the land we create is truly forever responding to us, and if that power is innate, then change should be instantaneous, right? So the question to you is, what single conscious choice could you make right now? Even a small one, a shift in attitude towards something difficult, maybe trying a different response than usual. Make that choice specifically to test the theory. How quickly does your land, your immediate reality, respond to that new input? The philosophy says the response is guaranteed. You just have to choose to play differently and see what happens.